Making a move into playoff position, and don't you dare talk about age, because Saturday those semantics went out the window. I'm Lauren Shahadi. This is your NASCAR report. 50-year-old Mark Martin moved into playoff position, 11th in points with his victory at Darlington Raceway, his second series win in 4 races. Martin outlasted his Hendrick Motorsports teammates, 3-time defending series champ Jimmy Johnson, in a wreck-filled show, and that's exactly what it was, a show. And our NASCAR expert Pete Pistone got to witness it. He joins us now. Pete, Mark Martin proved why he signed on with Hendrick for another full season in 2010 with a win. How do you think securing his future affected Martin? It had to have some sort of effect, don't you think, Pete?
Definitely, Lauren. I think it was huge. I think knowing what his future is, that he's going to be back next year for Mark, is just a giant relief, because now he can just concentrate on driving the race car. You know, he told us on Friday before the weekend started that he didn't come back to try to win a championship. He'd love to win a championship because he hasn't done that in his 25 years in the sport, but he came back because he's having fun and he wants to win races. And I think now that he knows that he's locked up for a couple of years, he can go out there and win races. And as you know, if you win races, you'll probably win a championship.
And he got that pressure off of his shoulders, which was huge. Of course, he led a top 5 sweep by Hendrick cars or those associated with the team, like Stewart-Haas Racing's Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, which again impressed with top 5 runs for both its drivers. Did anyone think, Pete, that this team would be so successful so soon?
No, me included. And I got to tell you, Tony Stewart gives me a little bit of grief about that every time I see him, because, you know, we haven't had a driver owner be successful in this sport for some time, Lauren. And when he decided to take on both roles, I just thought, and a lot of people agreed, that it was going to be too much, that you had to run the business and try to drive the race car. But, boy, he's proven everybody wrong. I mean, Tony keeps knocking down the top 5s. And now his teammate, you know, Ryan Newman, who got off to such a bad start at the beginning of the year, he has turned things around. Both of those guys now in the chase top 12. And both of those guys, as I've told you before, I think are just knocking on the door to be in victory lane. And I expect either the 14 or the 39 to do that pretty soon.
And, Pete, I'm sure Tony will forgive you.
I hope.
Let's talk about something off the track just for a minute. Martin's win overshadowed by the news that Jeremy Mayfield became the first Sprint Cup Series driver suspended after failing NASCAR's new substance abuse policy test. Mayfield, however, says, look, it was a mistake. That, you know, a combination of over-the-counter and prescription drugs kind of skewed the test. What was NASCAR's response, Pete?
Well, NASCAR's response is they have a zero-tolerance policy in place, Lauren. And, you know, last year we had something that was called reasonable suspicion, which a lot of people thought that, you know, was way too lax. So NASCAR put this new policy in. And in all honesty, they're not going to really change their stance here. Now, Jeremy's going to have a chance to meet with NASCAR and present his case from his doctors, but it's going to be a suspension that's going to be upheld. And actually, Dr. Black, who is the man who oversees this for NASCAR, you know, said earlier on Monday that he has never seen a combination, what Jeremy's saying, skew a test before they're going to stand by their results. I think if NASCAR would come out and tell everybody what they found, it could clear some of this up. But, you know, I just think that's something, unfortunately, that, as you said, kind of cast a black eye, I think, over the sport over the weekend and certainly in the career of Jeremy Mayfield right now.
And does it do that, Pete? That was going to be my next question. I mean, we've seen this happen with other sports, along with 2 other crew members who were suspended for failing their test. Does it kind of put a shadow over the whole sport?
Well, I think what it does is, unfortunately, puts NASCAR on the same level as all the other professional sports, and I do think that that's a bad thing, and it is a black eye. But I will tell you that, again, I think that NASCAR has been very swift with its punishment. You know, unlike Manny Ramirez, who got found out supposedly in spring training, and Major League Baseball waited 2 months before handing out a 50-game suspension. When NASCAR finds that someone did fail one of these tests, it takes 24 or 48 hours, and they hand out the justice. We've seen a lot of crew members suspended, and now we see our first driver. So I think, you know, you have to look at it as, I'm taking it as a positive. It's something, unfortunately, that we have to deal with as a society and in professional sports, and I think NASCAR has done, at least at this point, a good job of trying to take action to make sure that it doesn't permeate the sport any deeper.
Sure, we're looking for the good of the sport to prevail. Pete Pistone, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you for watching Everything NASCAR right here on the site. I'm Lauren Shahadi. We'll see you real soon.